Hello, welcome. My name is Sarah Snell Cooke. I'm the host of the Credit Union Connection. We're here at GAC 2025. I'm here today with Mike de Vere. Welcome.
Welcome.
And he is with Zest AI, so lots of techie stuff.
Yep, for sure.
Why don't you first introduce yourself in the company?
So Mike de Vere, CEO of Zest AI. We've been perfecting the use of AI for over a decade and a half. So when AI wasn't the cause celeb where everybody's talking about AI, we've actually been doing it since 2009. And we help credit unions actually with their most important decision, which is, who do I give a loan to?
Right.
And so it displaces an old system that was created in the 1980s, built off of 1950s math. And listen, there's nothing wrong with the 1950s besides like Elvis, Plato was created. I mean, there's some good things out of it. But
My
the math
mom was born.
Yeah, your mom was born. My parents, well, no, my parents were the 40s, but nonetheless. So there is actually a better way by leveraging AI. It ends up with a more accurate decision. You ensure that each of your members get a fair shot at credit. Tens of millions of Americans are left out of the credit system. And at the same time, it actually drives efficiency. So instead of 20% of your loans getting auto decision, you're able to drive that up to 80%, which is what members want. They don't want to sit around waiting for a loan. And so that's how we apply our AI technology.
Especially our younger members and members of the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so we were talking earlier. You mentioned Lulu. Talk to me about Lulu.
Lulu is a corgi, a dog in our office.
Okay.
Literally. So she was birthed from a hackathon in 36 hours, and Lulu's father, Benja, got to name it after his dog. So Lulu is a generative AI solution. It's a lending intelligence companion. And what it does, since we've been doing this for so long, you could imagine we've got 15 years of normative data on everything from policy to performance to pricing scenarios. We've trained Lulu on publicly available data, like imagine an NCUA call report or the OCC and Fed banking reports, things of that sort. And so our point in launching Lulu this year, and you'll see her front and center at our booth, is our point in launching her is we're trying to help credit unions with their decision-making process to be faster. And so generative AI shouldn't just be for the largest banks.
Right.
When you look at all the credit unions that are our customers, it represents about $0.7 trillion of assets under management. So over 600 models. So that's a lot of data. And so our thought with Lulu is she's the great collaborator. She brings everybody together. So with all of the information sharing, instead of just calling somebody on the phone and saying, hey, what's your DTI policy or how are your charge-off things? She actually can do it for you in real time with just a simple large language model and ask her a question and she'll be able to answer.
That's excellent, because I know I've had, I was on the board of my credit union until I moved last year, and I've had people ask me, because I started as the first associate board member.
Okay.
And it was like, what's your policy on that?
Yeah.
So it was like literally handing paper over.
I love that.
But yeah, now we've got all this technology that is awesome, and everybody's been yelling AI for a couple years.
Sure.
But now it's
we welcome them all to the party. Welcome. It's our party.
Now it's actually like, oh, we're going to look for a purpose with the AI. For the AI.
Yeah.
And one of those purposes, other than the generative AI, is the, one of the things I mentioned to somebody the other day is that a lot more credit unions are the ones getting ransomware and other ways of getting hacked or fraud.
Yeah.
And so AI's helped the bad guys get better.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so we need defense that is better.
Yeah.
So talk about what y'all are doing.
And so that was the number one thing that our customer advisory board asked in third quarter of last year is we need help protecting ourselves against fraudsters. As you said, fraudsters from around the globe are attacking the credit union industry, sometimes that don't have the resources to properly protect themselves. And what they've been able to go after is the fact that there's these fraud solutions currently available in the US. Most credit unions are using 4 or 5. It's like, duct tape, chewing gum, a little spit, a little dirt, just to try to protect against fraud because they're all inadequate. And so what we built is Zest Protect, which leverages AI. And so it studies years of data to understand trends and patterns. And so imagine you're a credit union in Northern California, and there's a fraud ring that goes out and says they create a synthetic person, they open 3 credit cards at 3 different credit unions, have an 850 industry score, which is great, right? And then they go to that last credit union and say, I want a personal loan with my 850 credit score. And they say a $40,000 loan. They get the $40,000, max out all of their credit cards and disappear.
Yep.
So that's a pattern that a human can find. Now AI thinks like a human, right? It
Mm-hmm.
looks for patterns. And so these are things that your best underwriter, your best fraud team could maybe put together, but she's able to look at millions and millions of
Mm-hmm.
interactions and patterns. And so what we are able to do is learn from that pattern such that no other credit union will face that issue
Mm-hmm.
in the future. And so we're so excited right now. The adoption rate of Zest Protect right now,
Mm-hmm.
it is definitely a need, and it's only going to get better and stronger
Mm-hmm.
as we go.
Yeah, and now, so you also mentioned you've been running around like crazy, not just here at GAC, but around DC in general.
Correct.
What are you most looking forward to here?
Well, first off, I always love visiting with customers. So that's my
Mm.
number one thing. I got to sit next to my first customer, Geneva Perman, who's now the CEO of ORNL
Mm.
Federal Credit Union. My number 3 customer, Greg Young from Hawaii, USA. But now with 600 over 600, it's like so great to walk the hall and be able to have an opportunity to kind of engage with them. So that's number 1. 2, meeting new people. 3, it's also engagement with DC. So if we look at things like the engagement with the current administration, the House, the Senate, the Federal Reserve. Right now, what we're noticing is there's this real interest in engagement. They want to lean in with the industry and understand more about how they can support us. And so there's a lot of that going on right now. So a lot of
That's good.
security checkpoints
Good to
today
hear.
to get through the day. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably a protest here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always give my guests final thoughts.
Yeah.
What do you want to leave our audience with?
The future of a lending ecosystem at the foundation is going to be AI. So
Mm.
80% of banks, CEOs have all said AI is in their lending roadmap. And so the big thing for credit unions in particular is whether you're talking about Zest or someone else is really leaning in heavy on AI and the promise that it has to protect your members against fraud and credit unions against fraud. It has a great promise in bringing more consumers into the credit system. And so we like that as well. But the issue will be is if you aren't in it now, in a couple of years, you're going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's eat or be eaten
Yep.
is what I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for spending some
Thanks
time
so
today
much
with
for your
us, Mike.
time. I appreciate it.
Thank
All right.